by sharing with us all you need to know about depression. Once again, thank you so much, Team DORKAS, for inviting me to share my knowledge and knowledge of others, because I'm going to be sharing evidence-based articles with us tonight, um, scientific research and evidences as we go along this talk. So, how you need to know about depression. The first thing I think we should think about is what is depression. What is depression? What is depression? Depression is a mental health condition that affects our mood. So it's a type of a mood disorder. It affects our mood, making the person feel flat. Sometimes they may feel numb. Sometimes they may feel irritable. And sometimes they may feel sad. It varies from people to people. So these feelings varies from people to people. This type of feeling lasts longer than normal shift in mood. For example, each one of us may have shift in our mood based on the events that are happening around our life. If somebody make a comment or pass a comment that maybe a personal comment to you, your mood may shift. You may be happy about the comment or be sad about the comment. We are not talking about just momentary shift in mood. We are talking about a change in our mood that is longer than 2 weeks, at least minimum of 2 weeks. When someone has that change in mood where they feel numb, they feel flat, they feel irritable or sad, and it lasts longer than about a period of 2 weeks, then we need to check it out. Um, it may be that the person is suffering or living with depression, because this shift in mood lasts longer than normal. Sometimes it may make it tough for such a person to to be productive in their day. By They may find it tough to do everyday things like spending time with friends, that is socializing, going to work, getting out of bed, taking care of themselves. They find it difficult to do all those normal personal hygiene that you carry out without thinking about it, going to work and all those things. And the thing is, anyone from any background can be depressed. So it's not restricted to a particular group of people. Anyone from any background can be depressed. Anyone from any religion can be depressed. It can happen for no clear reasons, or it could be triggered by something tough that one is going through. So depression can happen. It can be triggered by something, maybe a life-changing event, loss of the death of a loved one, accident that impact on one's mobility or that is life-changing, or someone loses their job, or someone going through divorce. Um, Many things about life can cause depression. However, sometimes it happens for no clear reason. Like I said, it's a mood disorder and it's a type of mental illness. So depression is not something that one should joke about or play about. It's a very serious illness, like any other serious illness, like high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer. Depression is in that category. Although depression shared the same features with grief. Like I said, when we sadly we lose our loved one can feel low in mood. So depression shares some features with grief. However, when we're talking about grief, the memory of the loved one that has gone to rest, when we think about the loved one and their memories, it brings happiness to us. The memories that we share together could change our mood, could bring happiness. And so we have like a kind of bittersweet. We are happy about them and we are sad because they are gone. So that makes depression and grief similar. But the difference is that when it comes to depression, it lasts longer than a temporary sadness for someone that we lose, that has gone to rest. Depression usually involves self-loathing, um, loss of self-esteem, uh, lack of motivation. These are all the traits of depression, and people experiences uh, these these traits or they experience these features differently. It's different from people to people. The way depression expresses itself is different from people to people. The main thing about depression is that it may interfere with our daily work. When we are talking about depression, it can interfere with our productivity. It can interfere with the results that we normally have in our life. So when one is living with depression, it may result into lost time and lowered productivity. It can also influence relationship. Depression can influence our relationship with our loved ones. Depression may impact, actually, it impacts on our life, because when one is living with depression, they may not enjoy the things they used to enjoy before. Someone may enjoy watching movie, going, playing certain games, doing certain activities, but as a result of depression, they may not enjoy it anymore. Like I said, it has to be with the feeling of feeling numb, irritable or sad. I'm going to tell us more about this. Signs and symptoms of depression. I think it's important that we recognize the signs and symptoms of depression. Again, like I said earlier, all these signs, they are natural signs that anyone can feel. They are feelings that it's peculiar to everybody. However, it becomes a concern when we are having these signs and symptoms for a long period of time, particularly if it's over 2 weeks that someone has been feeling sad, anxious, or empty. If someone has been having that feeling for more than 2 weeks, they need to seek for help. If you are feeling hopeless, worthless, and pessimistic, you are crying a lot for no reason. You just find out that anytime you want to sleep on your bed or when people are not there, you just feel like crying. You are teary for no reason. Then, for more than 2 weeks, one needs to seek for help. One of the challenges of depression is that people going or living with depression, they don't want to ask for help. It's part of it because they lack motivation. They lack motivation to do anything positive. So that is why it's important for us to know these signs and symptoms so that we can support people around us that may be struggling or living with depression. Loss of interest in hobbies and interest you once enjoyed, like I said earlier, decreased energy or fatigue. Maybe someone loves to go for a run, they love to read, maybe even read for leisure. All of a sudden, they have decreased energy to do the things they love to do, difficulty concentrating, remembering or making decisions. These are signs and symptoms of depression: moving or talking more slowly, difficulty sleeping, early morning awakening, or oversleeping. Like I said, these are signs and symptoms. But if they have been there for more than 2 weeks, then one need to check out appetite or weight changes. Um, yeah, chronic pain. When you talk about appetite or weight changes, include overeating and not eating enough, loss of appetite. When people are part of the signs and symptoms of depression is loss of appetite. You don't feel like eating, or you are overeating. These are signs and symptoms. Chronic physical pain with no clear cause that does not get better with treatment. I was privileged to nurse a lady. I thought she was faking it. When I first met her, if you lift her hand, she will be shouting pain. She said she's in pain, and they did everything. They did scan, MRI, everything. They can't find the reason why she's in pain, but she said she's in pain. Some people say she's faking it, but the truth of the matter is we don't know. It may be genuine, but there are people who they are just having the pain. It's not that they've gone for a run or they've done anything strenuous. They just wake up with the pain. So these are signs and symptoms of depression: headache, aches, pains, digestive problem, cramps, thought of death, suicide, self-harm, or suicide attempt. These are signs and symptoms of depression. And like I said, not everyone with depression experience the same symptom. Symptoms can vary in severity with people. However, if we are experiencing any of these symptoms for more than 2 weeks, we may be living with depression. And it's important that we seek help if that is the case with anyone around us. Like I said, it's difficult for people that are living with depression to seek for help. We may need to support them. And that is why we are bringing this awareness to us as the people to know the signs and symptoms of depression. If you have a friend that is normally pleasant, this person is normally pleasant, but all of a sudden they are just irritable, extra irritable. Any small thing, it could be your spouse, it could be your children. They are just irritable, or all the time they are just sad. They just don't want to do anything. They want to stay in their to stay in their room. They don't want to relate with friends. They are avoiding friends. They are avoiding social situation. Then you have to check. You know, um, I know that there are people who doesn't like social situation. They don't like to be in a party environment or in where people are. But when this becomes the when this becomes the norm, we have to check it out. Feeling numb or empty, I've mentioned that. Not wanting to do the things we enjoyed doing before, struggling to focus. These are signs and symptoms of depression. Again, like I said, depression varies from people to people. For example, for male may experience symptoms like anger. You just find out that they are just angry for no cause. They are aggressive. For a male, for a man, it could be they are just aggressive, they are restless, they are feeling empty or sad. They are not finding pleasure in their favorite activities. They are feeling tired. They lose interest even in sex. They are not able to concentrate. They can't sleep. They are complaining of fatigue, pain, headache, digestive problem. These may be signs and symptoms of depression. And of course, the same with female. With female, actually, research suggests that female are likely to have depression more than they are 2 times likely to experience depression more than male. So for a female, the symptoms are again mood disorder like irritability. They can be irritable for no just cause. It may be a very friendly person, and all of a sudden you are greeting them, and they are blind, they are just irritable. Um, they are feeling sad. They are feeling empty. They are feeling hopeless, anxious. They are withdrawing from social engagement. They are having all the time thought of suicide. They are they are they are thinking slowly. They are not sleeping well. They wake up early. They can't sleep all through the night. They have decreased energy. They are tired all the time. Changes in appetite, pain, headache, which this include cramps. I'm not talking about menstrual pain or menstrual cramps, but they just have the cramps even without all those. And of course, it's sad to note or to know that children also can have depression. And the children signs and symptoms are just crying. You see them crying, rapid shift in mood. They for no reason, they begin to cry. They are irritable. They are angry. They are having feeling of incompetency. They just feel like, oh, I'm not competent. I'm not good enough. Negative. They are very negative. And of course, they may refuse to go to school. They avoid their friends or siblings. They lock themselves in their room. They don't want to relate with anybody. They are having thoughts of death or suicide or harm. They are having difficulty concentrating. They decline in their school performance. There is a major change in their grade. Maybe this child is the A student, and all of a sudden they're having results. So we need to understand bad results. We're having questionable results. Then we need to know that something is going on that we need to investigate. All right. What are the causes of depression? Again, like I said, sometimes we may not be able to put our finger on it. We may not be able to say this is exactly the reason for depression. However, we have, through research, been able to identify some causes of depression. Number one that I would like to discuss with you tonight or this evening is brain chemistry. And this one is biological. So that's why I titled it from biological to circumstantial. Um, you can't change your brain chemistry, unfortunately, except with the help of medication. There may be chemical imbalance in part of the part of the brain that manage our mood. If there are chemical imbalance in the part of our brain that manage our mood, people may suffer from depression. This chemical imbalance could affect the way we think. That is why you come across some people who are very negative, and you have some people who are very positive. It's as a result of chemical imbalance in the brain. It affects the way they think, it affects the way they sleep, it affects appetite, behavior, and this could cause depression. It's one of the causes of depression. Another one is hormonal level. Particularly for women, changes in the hormone of ladies could cause depression, particularly during menstrual cycle. Female hormone like estrogen and progesterone, the changes in this hormone can cause mood fluctuation for a lady. And of course, when a woman is going through premenopause, perimenopause, they could have mood swing. And of course, menopause, postpartum period, that is after delivery. Uh, I remember many years ago, before I have studied mental health, a lady, um, although I think I've heard about postpartum depression uh, before that time, a lady just put to bed, and I went to see her in the hospital. When I got to the hospital, she started saying some weird things. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. How am I going to deal with this? And, but we thank God that the Lord, help us with that situation. So yeah, people can have postpartum depression, menopause depression, menopause, and all these are signs, common causes of depression. Another one is family history. If in a family there is history of depression in a family, if there is a history of depression in a family, people in that family are susceptible to depression. So we need to understand that people in a family where there are history of depression are at high risk of developing depression. If we have family history or another mood disorder in the family, if there are history of anxiety disorder in the family, history of depression in the family, then people in such family have high risk of developing depression or high risk of living with depression. Another common causes of depression is early childhood trauma. Early childhood trauma. Unfortunately, again, there's nothing one can do with it. That is why for us that are privileged and blessed of God to have children, particular children who cannot make decisions for themselves, we have responsibility to protect them and to ensure that they are not exposed to events, traumas that can change their life. Early childhood trauma, such as, rape, or all manner of, you want to think about it. I don't have to begin to mention what can cause childhood trauma, including shouting at our children. In this part of the world, I remember maybe about a year or month ago, I was told that our daughter was crying during their play in school because we did not come for the play. I was shocked. I'm like, we discussed it. We told her we are not coming. Then why is she crying? Well, children in this part of the world are different from us, where we came from. If your parents didn't show up, they didn't show. You don't even think about it. But here we go. Any little thing, these children in this part of the world, they are not as resilient as we are. They have not developed that resilience that we are privileged to develop. So we need to protect them. So what we are saying is that early childhood trauma could be a cause of depression. Some events affect the way our body reacts to fear and stress and stressful situation. We know that life comes with stress. That is the truth, whether we like it or not. As long as we are alive, there will be stress. But unfortunately, some people have not come to terms with it. Any small stress, they are depressed. So these are the reasons. These, among others, are the reasons why we are bringing this awareness to us. The things that could cause depression and how we can, deal with all these things so that we can live a fulfilling life. And also, some of the common causes of depression is brain structure. Brain structure. Science or scientists told us that there is a greater risk of depression if the frontal lobe of your brain is less active. They said if the frontal lobe of our brain is less active, we are at risk of having depression. But scientists don't know, they don't know at what point this happened, whether it is before one has the depression or it is depression that causes the frontal lobe of our brain to be less active. But they said that brain structure could be a cause of depression. Another causes of depression is medical condition. Medical condition. Medical condition could cause depression. There are some um, medical conditions that people can have that would trigger depression or that could put people at a higher risk of depression. Medical conditions such as chronic illness. It could even be a life-changing accident. You can imagine someone who is very active and all of a sudden they lose a limb or they lose their leg or they lose their side. All these things can cause depression. insomnia, chronic pain, Parkinson's disease, stroke, heart attack, cancer. All these medical conditions could cause depression. It causes depression. Another cause or causes of depression is substance use, substance misuse. When people begin to abuse substance, um, it's a history of substance or alcohol misuse can can become a risk to having depression. I don't know, but I remember many years ago. I mean, it would be over at least over 25 years ago. I remember I went to an event and I have a lot to drink. After the event, I have what they call hangover, and then you will experience deep in your mood. So that is my own lived experience. But research told us as well that people who drink alcohol or who misuse substance, drugs, they can cause depression because when they use those things, it excites them. It releases the feel good chemicals in their brain. But the moment the effect of the alcohol reduces on them, they go deep in their mood. So they have fluctuation in their mood. Their mood fluctuated and they go down. So they go sometimes people can be numb. So yeah, this is another cause uh, of of depression. And another one is pain. Pain, people who feel emotional or chronic physical pain for long period of time are significantly more likely to develop depression. That is why in our local assembly, we are encouraging married people to live together at peace. Wrong relationship can cause pain. If all of a sudden people that felt they love each other before they come together and they now become enemy uh, for a strange reason, this could cause depression. Even single people that have been jilted and all these life events can cause depression. What are the risks or the common risks for risk factor for depression? Number one is sex. That is our makeup, our sex, because like I said, I think I said it earlier that the prevalence of major depression is twice as high, in female as in male. So female are twice at risk than male. And it makes sense because of all the emotion and the emotional trauma that women may go through. And another one is genetics, family history, like I said, social economic status. If one is struggling financially, um, or you are living in a place where they are making you feel like your status is low, uh, or we are being exposed to situation or circumstances in life that is making us feel less of ourselves, the risk of depression can increase. Certain medication, certain drugs, including some hormonal birth controls, again, for women. You see why women are more susceptible. Uh, you know, when you're trying to do birth control, there are some certain drugs that they use that can affect uh, the hormones of women and increase the risk of depression. Birth control, corticosteroids, beta blockers, all these may increase the risk of depression. Vitamin D deficiency. This is so true. I know for many of us that are living in United Kingdom or in advanced world, where you find out that in summer, even this community, they seem more happy than in winter. So it's because of lack of vitamin D. When you go into a place where there is sunlight, people are much happier. So vitamin C, study have linked depressive symptoms to low levels of vitamin D. This is evidence-based. I'm not just making it up. Study have shown that low vitamin D can cause low level of the vitamin D can cause depression. And of course, gender identity. Many people who are struggling with their gender identity, they are not sure whether they are male or female. They risk depression. That is why, according to study, transgender people is nearly fourfold than they have risked 4 times more than straight people. Substance misuse, I've talked about that earlier on. About 21% of people who have a substance use disorder also experience depression. There are people who cannot do without using substance. I know for normal people, well, for healthy people, let me say healthy people, they are normal people as well, but it's just that they are struggling with that. We can't come to terms with it. We can't get our head around it. You start to think that why are they struggling with this? But unfortunately, that's their struggle. And when people struggle with substance misuse, they have high risk of experiencing depression, medical illness, like I said earlier on, chronic medical illness, heart disease, people that are suffering with all these, even mental illness like schizophrenia, psychosis, they have high risk of suffering from depression. Now, if anyone is suffering from depression, these are the ways you can look after yourself, or ways we can support people if they are suffering with depression. There are ways we can support people when they are going through depression. I said earlier on that getting help may be difficult when people are going through this depression. So it's important that anyone going through depression must get help. They must speak out. It is very, very important. But there are things we can do to help ourselves or to help people when they are going through depression. Because see, when people are going through depression, like I said earlier on, they lack motivation. They feel like they are carrying the weight of the whole world on themselves. So they lack motivation. They can't do the things that they could normally do by themselves. But these are ways that one can help himself whenever one is going through this depression or depressive episode. Number one is to talk to someone. Please talk to someone when you are going through depression. Talk to someone. It's very important that we talk to somebody whenever we are going through this issue. It's very, very important because depression is a serious illness. So please talk to someone. And when they talk to us, please don't let us judge them. Don't judge people. Depression is a serious illness. Don't judge them. When they talk to us, let us support them. Let us do all we can to support people when they talk to us. And another thing we can do is to be creative with our life. Be creative with your life. Maybe you want to start planning event for yourself, weekend, what you want to do during the weekend, maybe what you want to do with your family. Because unfortunately, there are people who are living with their family and they are depressed. They are living in the midst of people. They are in the midst of crowd, but they are still depressed. So we have to be creative. We have to be intentional with the things we can do to help ourselves. Then another thing we can do is to be more active. We can go for a walk. We can start doing activities. We can register in the gym. I know some of us, including myself, going to the gym, I struggle with that. But going for a walk, we can do that. You can go for a walk. You can talk to friends and you do joint, walking. Just get yourself involved in events. Know that you have only one life and you just need to help yourself at this point because you are struggling. You need to accept that you are struggling and you have to do this. Another thing we can do is to help ourselves. I'm talking about ways we can help ourselves if we're going through, if you are going through depression, ways we can help ourselves. We must face our fears. Because depression, you will find out as we proceed, as we dive deeper into interventions for depression, it has to do majorly with the way we think. Like I always say, someone said, when fear knocked the door, send faith to open the door. And once the faith opened the door, you'll find out that there's nothing at the door. I cannot forget in my life, many, many years ago, I had an experience. I just, maybe I was dreaming or coming out of sleep. I just, for strange reasons, I thought that there are robbers or armed robbers or thief. I don't know what you call them, thief or armed robbers. I felt that they were in the house, that they've come to rob the house. So I woke up, I didn't see anybody, and I shouted, "Hey, thief, thief, thief," or robbers or something like that. And the whole community woke up very early in the morning, around 5 a.m. Lo and behold, there was nobody there. So fear it comes with torment. We must learn to face our fear. Another thing we can do is to eat healthy diet. Eat healthy diet. I know all these things, they sound simple, but sometimes they are hard to do. Eating a healthy diet. One thing I find out personally is that, and I'm not suggesting that I do it, I find out that we don't need a lot of food as human beings. I find that out, that we don't need a lot of food, but that we can survive on little. Um, Let us eat healthy diet. It affects our mood. The food we eat affects our mood. I find out again personally that when I eat some heavy food, some food that are high in carbohydrates, it knocks me down. I won't say it affects my mood, but it makes me tired. So, and when you feel tired like that, it affects your mood. You want to do certain things, you can't do it because you are weighed down with the heaviness of the food. So it's important that we eat healthy diet. Another thing that can help us is having a routine. You may want to create a routine. Some people struggle with having a routine. Some people are good at having a routine. Whatever that can work for you, all we are saying is that among all these suggestions, find the one that you can do for yourself. At the end of the day, it's your life. And it may be that this will be useful for somebody that you are supporting. So have a routine. Another thing we can do is to practice mindfulness. Like I was suggesting to us not too long ago, mindfulness is not evil because a lot of people think when you mention mindfulness, they are thinking, oh, it's a Buddhist practice. It's all just about you being mindful of where you are at, your surrounding or yourself. Because when you look at mindfulness, it's about practicing awareness, being aware of your surroundings and things that are going around you. And if you don't like mindfulness, you can do meditation. Meditation is acceptable in Christendom. You intentionally put a scripture on your mind that you are thinking about, that you are meditating on. So you can practice that, and that will also help you. I remember a few years ago when I was trying to suggest it to a group of people, they find it burdensome to say, oh, meditate on scripture. But this actually helps a lot. In the world, they meditate on positive thoughts. But for us, we know positive thought does not, for Christians, believers in Jesus Christ, they know that positive thoughts does not have a lot of power. The Bible has a lot of power. So meditating on the word of God can actually help. And finally, ways to help yourself whenever you are feeling or going through this depressive episode is to seek help when you can't cope. Like I said, depression is a serious illness, is a serious mental illness. Whenever anyone is going through depression, if you think like you cannot help yourself, you cannot do all these things I've suggested, please seek help. Go to your GP, call GP, call 991, call 911, call 999. let them know that you can't cope, because we have said, and it's not me, mental health is defined as the emotional and spiritual resilience that enables you to cope with the normal stress of life, which means that anytime anyone cannot cope with the normal stress of life, they need to seek for help. And the truth of the matter is that 1 in 4 people in the United Kingdom is suffering from mental illness. So please seek for help whenever you can't cope with mental illness. There's a part of prayer, but there's a part of medication for any sickness, not only depression, any sickness. There's a part of prayer and there's a part of medication. If you have faith enough to be healed, then you may not want to take medication. But what I find out is that a lot of people, they don't even have faith to be healed, and they don't want to take medication. I don't understand. It beats me. People they cannot do what the Bible says to do to get healing. And when you try to explain, they say it's not so. So if you know it's not so for you, then take medication. Please take medication. Take medication. It's not a sin. I believe it's not a sin. I believe that God gave the medical doctors the wisdom to do the research to come out with the medication and the drugs that they are prescribing to help us. So please, again, I am soliciting that people should take medication or seek for help when they cannot cope. Talk to someone, seek for help. Now, this is, again, evidence-based. This is from NICE, National Institute of Health and Care Excellency. They are saying that they are saying that depression in adults, and this is called the matched care model. Number 1, they said all known and suspected presentation of depression, this is the nature of intervention that they suggest. That if someone is low in mood, feeling numb, lack motivation, oversleeping or not sleeping for more than 2 weeks, they are saying call your GP, and then they will carry out an assessment on you. If they carry out an assessment and they feel that by the outcome of their assessment is that they need to refer you, they will do a referral for psychoeducation. I hope I'll be able to talk more about psychoeducation tonight. And then another stage will be active monitoring and support. That is level 1. Level 2 is a less severe depression. And at this level, they said after they've gone through the level of level 1 assessment and all those things, then they will prescribe high intensity or low intensity psychological and psychosocial intervention plus medication. At this stage, they can prescribe medications that can help with depression, because depression actually affects the hormones, the feel-good chemicals in our brain. And these medications that they prescribed, the antidepressant, they releases all those chemicals into our brain to help us with depression. They release serotonin, dopamine, all these chemicals. When we take the medication, it helps our brain to have those chemicals so that we can overcome depression. And I believe this is why I say to people, when those chemicals or when those medication, when they help you to a point, they releases all those serotonin, dopamine into your brain. You also need to help yourself by doing all the things we say you should do. You need to help yourself. If you don't help yourself, the medication will help you, and before you know it, it will not work again. They will increase it. It helps you. Before you know it, it will not work again. Then they will increase it. So the medication will help, but also we need to help ourselves. Another level is more severe depression or less severe depression with limited response to initial intervention. But that is what I've just explained. When they give us those medications, The medication releases serotonin into our brain to help us. And when we are active at that time, we have motivation, we should start to have, we should begin to put things in place for ourselves, like being socializing, going for a walk, having a routine. You put all those things in place for yourself, doing exercise, being more active. You do all those things. When you do it, it will help you. But if you don't do anything and you rely on the medication alone, you get to a point where there will be your body will not respond to those medication again. Your body will not respond because you see, our body, the way the way the body is made up is that our body tolerates a lot of things. And once you are using certain medication, it gets to a point where your body begins to tolerate it. So that those things will not have effect on your body again. If you have drank alcohol before, you find out that you can drink maybe 1 pint, and before you know it, your body begins to tolerate it. You drink 2, you drink 3, because your body can tolerate things. It can grow. Your body can grow to get used to certain things. So that's why people could, not the only reason, could get to this level 3, where they will need more medication, high intensity or psychological intervention and medication. And the fourth one is chronic depression or psychotic depression. People who are psychotic, who have mental illness, or depression with personality disorder. This is high level mental illness. So the kind of intervention that NICE suggests is medication, high intensity psychological intervention, ECT, crisis service, combined treatment, multi-professional and inpatient care. So this kind of people living with such, they will be admitted to hospital where they can be supported with all this treatment, you know. Yeah, I think I have about 2 more slides. Then I will open this up for questions. Yeah, this is just a bigger expression of what I've gone through there. They're talking about the lines of treatment for depression. This is nice guidelines for lines of treatment. You know, like I said, you can self-help yourself. It could be guided, you know. Today we have access to a lot of information, guided self-help, group CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm sure that by now, particularly in our church, I'm sure people by now would know what CBT is all about. It's just a psychological way of thinking that your thoughts affect your feeling affect your behavior. So when you are doing this therapy, they help you to change the way you think. And like I always say, that's what the Bible is all about. The Bible is just about changing the way we think. And now the psychologists have discovered that actually impacts people through science. They've done a lot of studies, and they saw that, look, if you can change the way you think, a lot of things will change in your life. And yeah, so you go through that group behavioral activation, individual CBT, individual behavioral activation, group exercise, group mindfulness and medication, interpersonal psychotherapy, the medication, antidepressant, counseling. So you can go through that cycle. However, I'm hoping that for people who are believers in Jesus Christ, that maybe life events trigger depression, they will be able to be supported with guided self-help or CBT. I'm hoping that no one will get to a point where they'll be admitted into the hospital because of depression. Just to talk finally about major depressive orders, we have major depressive disorder, persistent depressive disorder, where it is persistent, like it said. Postpartum depression, that is after birth. depression and anxiety, depression and OCD, depression with psychosis, depression in pregnancy, depression and alcohol. So on this note, I want to stop and start to ask questions because I believe that in this question is where we're going to have a lot to discuss. I hope this